You may introduce yourself with your name, your position, and your expertise.
Okay. So my name is Victor. My full name is Victor. I have been a lecturer and associate professor in MMU for more than 20 years. And my expertise is in the area of cybersecurity, network security, computer networks. This is something which I'm very familiar with and which I'm very comfortable. So as part of my efforts to gain more knowledge, I've also gotten quite a few certifications. I've got certificate that stands for, if I'm not mistaken, Certified Information Security Professional, if I'm not mistaken. And then I've also got the CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, and other computer networking certificates such as CCNA as well as the Huawei version HCNA. So, all this gives me a strong foundation, gives me the necessary knowledge as well as the credibility to do well as well as to excel in this area of work. So I've, as part of my work, I've done consultancy for cybersecurity. I've taught cybersecurity. I've had awareness courses for cybersecurity, and it's a very interesting area, and it's equally challenging. But I think there's a lot of potential for growth and a lot of potential for a career in this domain. Okay.
All right, thank you. So I may pass the question to the next group.
So, sir, in the phishing and scams category, with the rise of AI tools, how are scammers altering their approach to target corporate employees, and how can workplaces adapt?
Okay, so now when you're talking about spam and phishing, if you're talking in the context of a corporate environment or an enterprise environment, it's usually more targeted. So it's actually a variation of phishing is called spear phishing, or another name for it is sometimes called as BEC, or business email compromise. So the idea behind this spear phishing as well as business email compromise are the emails are very, very, very targeted. Instead of writing something which is general, dear, and then no, nothing. You are late in your payment, or it says that your account has been compromised. It gives instead of a very general email, you get something very specific. Say, for example, dear Victor. They know the name of the person they are talking to, and then they know the position. Please ensure prompt payment to the account receivable. So this is a very specific email with a very specific targeted with a very specific context. So when this is done, the first place is hard to detect. Now with the rise of AI, this can be done with greater accuracy in terms, for example, the quality of the English, the quality of the email. You can even use the AI to actually create better, in a way, better guide to the scammers or to the hackers in how to actually, I wouldn't say bypass the email system, but in how to actually take advantage of how to exploit the email system. So to create more convincing email headers. So AI will actually bring or upgrade the scammers or the phishers' capability, making it quite a challenge for enterprise to actually detect all this. So coming back to how you can actually prevent this, there are two areas. Number one is technology. That means they need to deploy better technology, better phishing detection technology. And then number two, there is the operational side. That means you have to deploy better training and awareness to the staff. There must be better SOPs. So for example, if there is a request by so-called the fake CEO asking to bank in the money to an account, so a better SOP says that you cannot simply bank in the money, even though it's a CEO. They must get proper authorization. You need to call the CEO personally using an external number, or you need to get the finance department to sign off. So cannot bypass, even though the CEO tell you to bypass. So you need that proper SOPs. So that's number one. And then number two, there's awareness, as we need to actually train the employees to better recognize this. Not just recognize, but be aware there's such a thing. Because it can be quite tricky if you're not aware. So the number one way to prevent something bad from happening is to be aware or to understand, to know it's there. What you don't know, you can't stop. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, very long-winded answer.
But sir, I would
try
like
to be
to
more
interject with one question. After that, we can proceed.
Please.
with
You can
the-
discussion. It's a good discussion. You can treat it as a discussion.
This specific domain belongs to bigger enterprise and corporate agencies. But what about SMEs?
Bigger enterprise and corporate agencies.
Just now you answered it's within that domain, right? But what about smaller enterprises?
Okay, so small enterprises, technology is something which they may not be willing to invest in. Because all this technology requires a lot of money. When you need some AI agents to detect all this phishing, you need some AI, or not even AI, some appliances, some security appliances or security tools to help to minimize or reduce the risk. But all this equipment can be very expensive. All these services can be very pricey. So for SME, comes back to the other option I mentioned, operational. That means they need to make sure they are aware of it through regular training and to have proper SOPs. So what you're saying is true. Many of these cases that happen, a lot of SMEs get into trouble. It's just that they never tell or never report it. Yeah, a lot of SMEs. It's easier to cheat 100,000 from an SME than to cheat 10 million from a big company. So you cheat a lot of small companies, you get a lot of money. So a lot of SMEs don't know. They don't know all these type of cases. So somehow they might not be IT savvy also as SMEs. Yeah. So yeah, very high risk. How to minimize? Education, awareness of it. And that's the reason why there's still so much going on, because awareness is very low. You read the newspaper, you see every today people report about all these things happening. Tomorrow you still see news. See, next year you still see news. Year after next you see news. Every day they have news. The number of cases have not dropped, they have actually increased. So because people still lack awareness. Yeah. Okay.
So, thank you, Dr. Victor. So, for my question, in your experience, what is the single most common human error or risky behavior that leads to cybersecurity breaches in modern workplaces today?
Single, there's no single, but
Single most common human error.
The ones that you see most of the time, or heard.
I think single most common error, I think clicking on links without thinking it through first. I would say clicking on links, opening emails, opening attachment. That means they click first, think later. So I would say that would probably be the single most. Even though I say they're aware, they're aware of all these crimes, but sometimes you see email coming from someone, you just click on the link. Which is what we normally do. Even if you receive emails from your friend with an attachment with your assignment, you just click on link. You don't read carefully, you just click. So same logic also. I think that would be the single most easiest way to get all this into problem. Yeah, clicking on links without thinking too much. Yeah, I think so.
So what about, because, like, for example, we open like a document sent by them. Let's say a Word file. Like,
By who?
Let's say one of the email send us a document. Let's say a docs file, the Word file.
Okay.
Then how does it work? Like, as in like, because whenever we click on something, it goes into read-only mode first before we actually enable the edit. So how does let's just say any crime, the risk of compromising when clicking or like going into edit mode, like I don't know if you have any idea on how this will happen.
So what you describe, sometimes when you open emails, when you open documents, Word documents from your attachment, sometimes it says, read only mode.
Yeah.
So you have to click edit one. Have you noticed that? This is a response to what had happened previously. Last time when you open all these Microsoft Word documents, there's no edit mode. You open them, it's straight open. So if there's macros are basically programming scripts inside Microsoft documents. I think we might see it before. Macros in Excel, macros in Microsoft Word. So these macros are the ones that actually cause all the problem. And they run when you open the file. So because of this, Microsoft, they so-called upgraded all their Microsoft software so that it is always open in the read-only mode to prevent this problem. So the hackers sometimes they evolve. One very simple way of evolving is instead of giving you a doc file, they actually give you a file .doc.exe. So it's a double dot thing. So sometimes when people look at things, when you open your file, you don't see the extension. You still see a thing is a doc file or a PDF file, whereas in fact it's actually a different type of file at the back. So you catch them that way also. So it's more of a trickery. And if it still happens if that happens, there might be, okay, sorry, that's trickery, but this thing might still happen if there are bugs in the software. If there are bugs, if there are no bugs, then it's fine. Might still happen with bugs, so not be necessarily Microsoft Words. Sometimes there's a bug in, let's say, a different software. Let's say Microsoft, let's say you got a Fusion 360. I don't know, your 3D printing. Sometimes you need to share files on that. So maybe the Fusion 360 file itself got some format error, got some bug. Then when you click the Fusion 360, you might run something in the background. So it's not limited to Microsoft Word. That's the most common, but not limited to Microsoft Word. So as long as there's a bug, there's a potential. It's getting less. Now think about it. Malwares are still there, but it's getting less because the operating system is getting a bit more secure. If it does happen, most of the time it's because people go and simply click links. You click links and then you go to website, update your banking information or update your email information. Most of the breaches happen that way. Most malware now got, but I think it's a bit less. Not by a lot. Okay.
Okay, so getting to my next question is, since many organizations have strict requirements like changing the new password for every 3 months or 6
correct.
months or so.
MMU also
So,
like that.
yeah, for example, MMU, they require like a very aggressive multi-factor verification on
Correct.
sign-in. Okay.
Correct.
So do you think that after a certain time, the fatigue that have in employees or maybe students will set in into them? So what are the ways that they find to bypass all these rules to get it done faster? So in that way, does it truly happen in your opinion?
Fatigue. Okay, so basically it's like login fatigue. Every time you want to log into anything, any time you want to go to some service, you need to log in all the time, right? Yes, the fatigue is true, but it is necessary. You see, cybersecurity or security in general is always a balancing act between two things. On one hand, you have convenience, on the other hand, you have security. If you have high security, your convenience is low. If you've got high convenience, your security, what did I say? If your security is high, your convenience is low. If your convenience is high, your security is low. So getting the balance right can be a little bit tricky one. And sometimes you might get it right, but sometimes after some certain incidents, then you might tighten up the security and your convenience drop. It's like that. Okay, you cannot have both. Okay. So as much as fatigue can set in, as much as user frustration can happen, but if it's a requirement of the organization, it's not going to change. That means either the user has to get used to it, or there's nothing else they can do. Okay, it's not the best answer, but that's the reality of things. Because there's no option to say I don't want to put password, because it's an enterprise policy. Individually, you can do that. Individually, sometimes your laptop, example, your laptop, every time you turn on your laptop, you need to log in. You need to log in, right? You need password one, right? There are some options where you just turn off the password. So that means after you're on, straight away log in. There's some setting somewhere there. So that one you can do it individually, but that's you're taking your own risk. But for enterprise, for a company, they need to look it from the company's perspective, because if something goes wrong with a company's equipment, then company's proprietary information is stolen, or company's system is compromised, and then company lose money. So from a company point of view, I need to protect. So I have to tell you, you need to do this. It's like coming to my office. You come to office every day, you have to unlock the door. Every day you come in for work for 5 years, you need to unlock your door. You cannot tell boss, I don't like to use my key anymore. I don't know, use my key. Then I don't lock the door when I go home. Then what would the boss say? You don't come to office tomorrow. Isn't it? Yeah. So it's the same thing, you cannot, because IT is an asset. Your company's facilities are assets. You must protect your asset. So you protect physical assets using keys and lock. You protect your digital assets using keys and lock in the form of authentication. So you must be there. Maybe what you can do is more convenient. Like let's say keys, instead of using keys in the future, now you use tap. Use tap or use your fingerprint. So same thing also for your for your digital systems. Now instead of typing your username and password, you use your fingerprint. There's this thing called the passkey. Passkey is the same idea. When you log in, then you say click OK on your phone. So it's a bit more convenient lah. Instead of having to remember your password, but it's not 100% gone. Just more convenient in that sense.
So, would you agree that passkeys and biometrics are more convenient and can reduce this type of fatigue?
Yeah, can. Can. I mean, passkeys are definitely convenient. Passkeys, tokens, some high security systems, they use tokens. They use something like a USB gadget. You go look at this Titan key or something like that. You have to plug into your computer. So when you plug it to your computer, you don't need to type your username and password anymore. But you must have that gadget. So that if you lose that gadget, then gone case already. Okay? Just like you lose your key. So if you lose that gadget, then gone case already. So they got extra layer, like you got that gadget, and then you must use a fingerprint to trigger the gadget also. I think it's called Titan key. So that one can help with password fatigue.
Thank you.
But you need to have something. Okay?
I will pass to the next.
But biometrics got disadvantage in the sense you cannot change one. You got 10 fingers only. If one of the fingers get compromised, then you got second finger, but you only got 10 chances. If you use DNA, you only got one DNA only, so you cannot do that also.
What about your toes, sir?
You can use your toes, but it's not practical. I thought you're not so that's why I come back to convenience. You can. But it's just not convenient. But as I say, once your fingers are gone, but you need the gadget. You have your eyes, you got your face, but you can't change them. Your face now can't change. If you want to change your so-called password for your face, you can't change. If it's compromised, you can't change. Okay.
Okay, so for the next question, do you believe that the future of workplace security relies on eliminating password entirely? Like just now we said biometric and token-based authentication, or is it about enforcing stricter password hygiene?
Okay. Future is not future requires authentication. There are many forms of authentication, whether it's like biometric, password, token, or some other forms. Okay? Or combination of this. For matter convenience, password might be, I think that's the direction they're going for now. They are removing passwords. But if you remove passwords, you need to have other forms of authentication. Authentication, there are 3 ways currently. There are what you know, what you have, and what you are. If you remove passwords, which is what you know, you need to maintain 2 of them. What you are, which is biometrics, and what you have, which is token. So using these 2 might be more convenient. So it can help, but authentication always stays. If there's no way authentication can be gotten rid. Okay.
Thank you. So, since our assignment requires us to, since our assignment requires us to propose a data-driven awareness campaign, from your expert perspective, what is the most effective strategy or key message to actually change employee behavior, rather than just giving them another boring training module?
I think that's a very good question, and it's also quite I think how do you get, unless you experience something bad has happened, the only way you can actually get people to learn more is really through trainings and awareness. The only difference is how you conduct it. Instead of using the boring modules, you try to make it more engaging. How do you make it more engaging? You do more exercise, you do more hands-on, you do some simulation, you do some practice, you tell them stories. So this one might help. I think this one will help. Because there's no I don't see any other way of creating that awareness besides so-called education. Education means training.
Yeah.
If you do, let's say, a real life example, penetration testing, to see how the staff behave, so-called real world experience. Is another way of learning. You force them to learn. You put them in the situation. Make them panic. Then after panic, then later tell them, okay, no, we just do a fire drill only. It's a fire drill only. Then after a while, also forget already. Now if now got fire also, I think most of us, you know where to run to. Have you done fire drill before, have you? But some of you got. So where are you supposed to run to in case fire happen? Where is our collection? Where is our gathering point?
The evacuation place
where?
where the parking there got a logo
Okay,
there,
good.
got the green logo there,
Good.
then that's where we gather.
Okay, there's one place there as far as this. I think the Rimba,
Yeah, Rebut
Rimbu Yumu here. There are two places. So, most people would not be aware of that. They do 1 or 2 times and they forget already. So, okay, I'm just going round because I don't have a good answer for this one.
Yeah, right.
It's still training, but we just have to make sure that the training is more engaging. I think that's the best answer I can give.
So it takes a bit of creativity.
Yeah, so the engaging part is the one that requires a lot of creativity. Like, it's still training one. There's no other way to do it. One. No, I don't think there's any other way to do it. You just have to make it more engaging using creativity. You know, you do a scenario-based example. You know, you just give very interesting hands-on. You know, instead of just telling you. I think that's the only way. In terms of training and preparation. That's why now the solution is, like I say, like come back 2 ways. One is technology, one is operational. Sometimes when I answer you, I look here and there because I'm thinking of stuff in my head now. Operational, that means like that, like training lah, SOP lah, who you hire. These are the operational side of it. And then the technical side of it, or the what they call the technology side of it, is you install the proper tools, but this one can be quite expensive. You know, very expensive. A lot of companies, they are not willing to invest in this unless something bad happen. Once something bad happen already, then they panic. Then they say, okay, let's look into this. Usually.
Never learn from others.
Never learn from No, they won't learn from others one. It's the same thing. My neighbor's house, you know, not neighbor, neighbor's too close. Let's say my friend's house somewhere there. Go, you know, something not so good happened. Then why happened? I didn't lock my door. So you listen only but you don't do anything also. Same thing. Unless your neighbor, something happened to your neighbor, then you panic, then you do something also. Something like that. Unless it happens to you, then you do. Isn't it? Okay. Anything else? So, in case you come back, what's this? Okay.
I still have one more question. Okay, so in this generation, since generative AI, it has been used by scammers for pitching content, and it will look like very authentic, very real.
Correct.
Okay, so since with AI that is going on, they could easily eliminate some common red flags.
Correct.
Okay, and then also make it harder to identify also. And deepfake audio calls are also used to scam people as well.
Correct.
Especially for those like similar to family members' voice.
Correct.
Alright. So since cases like this haven't occurred or very common in the workspace yet, so are there any ways that we can prevent it to happen in this workspace?
Okay. Now, if this does happen, is in a workplace setting, it usually happens with a specific intention by the scammers to get something. So either to get money, to get information, or get someone to do something. It is, in all honesty, it can be very difficult to detect. Honestly, it's very difficult one. Even if you have the best practices, you have SOPs. Example, SOPs. SOP says that, like just as an example, if I want to transfer money, before I transfer anything exceeding, let's say 1 million, I need to get approval from the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. If the boss, example, just now, I go back a little bit, just an example. Now it's coming to your one. Let's say the scammer contact me, ask me to make payment to a new bank account number, and then because I scared this is a CEO, so I don't follow the SOP. SOP says I should get the CFO approval first, I don't, and then I sign and then I lose the money. So the way to fix that problem is that you have to make sure that you have a proper SOP. You also have to make sure that you follow the SOP. Okay, because this is CEO. So even though CEO says, sorry boss, I cannot do this, the policy says follow here. The CEO scold, you stupid, you cannot, you must do this, otherwise you lose the business. So even if the boss scolds you like that, you must follow the SOP. I'm sorry boss, if you're not happy, you please talk the CFO, change the SOP, but for now I have to follow because this is 1 million, it's not small money. So they have to follow SOP lah. But let's say now the scammer pretends to be the boss, also got the video, also got the voice. Same thing, if that fella asks you to do something, don't follow the SOP, the one way to stop it is to follow SOP lah. But let's say the boss also follow SOP. Let's say like this fella also knows the SOP one lah. Then that one is very difficult to catch already. Let's say they follow the SOP, they follow the guidelines, but they know how to do, they know how to change. They say, okay, please submit the form to change the banking information. I will sign for you. SOP lah. So this fella just give the form, so fake fella sign the form and then can change one. So change the process, change the final account information. So the only true way to prevent all this, really the only true way that I think about it is to see the fella face to face.
During any sorts of proposal.
Something very important, something about multi-million or got some follow SOP also must say if anything above 100,000, must see face to face, sign and approve. Phone call cannot, video conference cannot, email cannot. Must come to office, must sign and chop. Just like when you want to go in the future, if you want to go get your EPF, you want to do some banking, and you need to be at the bank one, right? You need to give a fingerprint. So that might be the case in the future. So I won't be surprised. Because I think you read the news recently, I think last weekend, there is scammers who pretended to be the Prime Minister of Singapore, as well as some deputy minister or another minister of Singapore. So this meeting, online meeting, is a Zoom meeting. This online meeting got the Prime Minister of Singapore, got the Minister of Human Resource, Minister of Law, Minister of this. So it's a very big meeting, And then this video is all fake one. The voice is fake, the video is fake, but it's close enough lah. I mean, the mouth and all that is ngam, the voice is all ngam. So the person they cheated was asked to join the Zoom meeting. So when he joined the Zoom meeting, he saw them talking. He thought, wow, this is real one. So of course they didn't ask him to do something lah. So asked him to pay some money and do something lah. So but because these are all ministers, so he paid lah. And then later he found out he got cheated lah. So the only way really in this case in the future, I think must really face to face. Face to face means come back authentication and say, sir, boss, you want to make sure you sign in front of us, witness. Then only can. In the future, it will be like that. Definitely it will be like that. Big money. Okay, anything else?
总结 so far that's all for
Okay, that's all.
yeah, thank you
Good question, interesting.